Xbox just scored a major win, and I could not be happier. What is up, y'all? I am Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we get on it and we talk about Xbox stuff. What happened there? The latest news, rumors, games, accessories, pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how Xbox stuck the landing at the end of 2024 and how all the little things that they're doing are setting themselves up for success in 2025 and beyond. So the major story for Xbox this week is the release of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Leading up to the release of this game, I had a lot of questions. It didn't seem like there was a lot of buzz about it. Didn't seem like pre-orders were going super well. Obviously, there's going to be a PlayStation 5 version of this game. And the trailers that we had been seeing, well, I thought it made the game look interesting, but not exactly a home run. But now that reviews are out, now that I've actually gotten some time to play it, all of those doubts have melted away, and it represents a huge, much needed win for Xbox. I've been looking forward to this game mostly because, well, I've been talking about it for what seems like forever, but I was a little bit worried though, because a lot of the reviews were like, oh, if you love Indiana Jones, you're gonna love this game. This is a really great Indiana Jones adventure. And I don't know if this is like blasphemous or nothing, but I am not like a huge Indiana Jones guy. Like, I appreciate what it's contributed to the entertainment culture and industry, whatever, but me personally, I never really got super into Indiana Jones as a franchise. But even though I'm not up to date on all the movies, I still am really enjoying it. And a lot of the gameplay elements that they were showing off leading up to the game's release that I thought would be boring are actually things that I'm very much enjoying. All the little details, like the sketches in Indy's journal, going around taking pictures of different monuments and artifacts, and learning about them through Indy's perspective. All of that stuff on paper sounds really boring, but in practice, I'm enjoying it. I haven't beaten it yet, but so far in my experience, the combat is, although it's simple, it's super satisfying and fun. It allows for a lot of variety, especially with the hand-to-hand stuff. You have everything you would need, basically like in a real street fight. You can throw punches, you can shove, you can grab, you can charge up the punch, you can parry a little bit and prepare yourself for a counterattack. You can use your whip to disarm and pull. It's really cool. It may not be realistic, but whoever decided that they were going to add these crazy ragdoll physics whenever you knock someone out, that's awesome. I love it. I love the fact that you could pick up literally anything, whether it's a shovel, a fly swatter, and use it to throw it at people and beat the crap out of them. It's so funny how damage seems to be cumulative too. Like, oh, I could pick up this umbrella, throw it at someone. First time, not so much damage, they're not really phased, but 3 more times, you're gonna send them flying. Those elements show, hey, let's not take this game so seriously and throw some really fun stuff at the player. Of course, there are some things that feel like kind of a slog, like climbing up stuff. Of course, like you're not Ezio Auditore or like a superhuman running up walls and stuff. So yeah, it gets kind of boring and slow when you're trying to, I don't know, pull Indy up onto a ledge and he's like all tired and beleaguered. But I think it still fits really well in the game. I'm not super into stealth in games, but with Indiana Jones, I'm having a good time with it. And when everything eventually goes to shit, well, you can still fight your way out. The graphics look good, the performance is stable, which breaks a long streak of games launching from Xbox Game Studios with a lot of bugs or problems. Sure, you see the occasional goofiness every now and then, but it's still pretty solid. I also love games that make me feel like I'm figuring stuff out for the first time. One of my favorite things about the Fallout or Elder Scrolls games is, going through terminals or reading through scrolls and piecing together what happened in a specific dungeon. I get a lot of that same satisfaction in Indiana Jones, being able to pick items up, turn them around, look at them, inspect them a little bit. And the chemistry between Indiana Jones, played by Troy Baker, and the rest of the cast is just electric. I love it. I can see how this game wouldn't be for you if you're used to like high-octane games or you're constantly sprinting around, a bunch of like crazy combat animations are going on. But this game came at the perfect time in my life because I was really looking for a slower, more methodical, immersive experience. Don't get me wrong, I love queuing up in Call of Duty for like a million matches of multiplayer in a row and just going bang, bang. But playing Indiana Jones, it was a much welcome change. In my book, Indy is a certified winner. And because Indiana Jones is a winner, at least critically for me and many others, it really feels like Xbox is back on track. They closed out 2024 really strong with Black Ops 6, Stalker 2, and now Indiana Jones. And going into 2025, there are a lot more exciting projects like Avowed, Fable, and South of Midnight. And who knows, maybe tonight at the Game Awards, they'll have even more stuff to announce or games to reveal. Like last year when they revealed Blade, or when they were like, hey, here's the Xbox version of Baldur's Gate 3. And not only is Indiana Jones a good game, not only did Xbox once again prove it could be a good publisher, ship a quality project, much like the stuff they were doing when they won Publisher of the Year back in 2021, but also proves that they care about their players and they care about making their lives easier. I know they've done this in the past with other first-party stuff, but with Indiana Jones, it was the first time I noticed that Xbox gives you the option to save some storage space and forego the high-resolution texture pack, which is not nothing. I mean, that's like an extra 40 gigs of space, which could be like one or maybe a couple games. And while Black Ops 6 and Stalker 2 have been great back-to-back releases to close out 2024 for Xbox, they hog up so much storage space on your Xbox console. So Xbox giving us this option of, yes, you can still play this game, but textures aren't going to be as sharp up close, especially if you're a Series S owner and you're super strapped for storage, is really awesome to see. I was a little curious. I was like, okay, well, how does it stack up, the game with the package and the game without? So I decided to check it out for myself. It's really not all that different than if you were to choose to install it, and you get to save an extra 40 gigs. Here's side-by-side footage of the beginning level, one with the texture pack, one without. And if I look really closely, I can see some differences in the foliage. It's most obvious to me when I pick up this book and I see, oh, it's not as sharp in like the lettering, the font. There also seems to be some differences in the clothing, but outside of that, I still think both versions look really damn good. I have the space for it and I want the best experience on my Series X, so I decided to reinstall the texture package, but you're still getting a great experience if you decide to say, hey, I don't want that, I want more space. The success of Indiana Jones, it's also got me thinking about this whole exclusive strategy Xbox has got going on, or the lack thereof. Like I mentioned at the top of this video, we know that there's going to be a PlayStation version of Indiana Jones. I didn't think that was the best move, but hey, they're going to do it anyway. And me and many other fans, we are questioning, well, if there is a world where all Xbox games eventually come to PlayStation, what is the point of buying an Xbox? And I gotta say, I didn't really see it before, but now I'm thinking, okay, Game Pass is making a very strong case to justify the purchase of an Xbox console. Game Pass subscribers have been feasting as of late. All of those games I mentioned earlier, Black Ops 6, Stalker 2, and now Indiana Jones, those have been day one additions to Game Pass. And even with the whole price increase and, oh, now day one additions are only on Game Pass Ultimate, over the past 3 months, I've paid $60 and played all 3 of those games for the price of one. That's 3 straight winners when it comes to the day ones. That's not even including all of the other stuff that's been added to Game Pass over those same 3 months. I get to play all of those games as part of my subscription versus, well, for the multi-plat ones, buying them on PS5. And not only that, I'm getting to play it early. I'll be done with this game by the time PlayStation users even get a whiff of it. There's been a lot of back and forth on like, oh, you know, games are going to launch on Xbox first, and that makes Xbox users pretty much beta testers. With Indiana Jones, I don't think that's the case because, again, right out the gate, the performance is solid, the game looks great, and also with Game Pass, you get to play the game early. They did this with their other first-party games too, but if you want the early access pre-order bonus, all you got to do is just download the game through Game Pass, preload it, pay like 20 extra bucks, and you get all the same benefits as you would if you bought like the collector's bundle or the pre-order bundle. It's awesome. They're not doing anything like that over on PlayStation. Beyond just the quality of the game, there are so many features that are being shown off thanks to Indiana Jones that Xbox has been working on, and they're finally getting the praise that they deserve. And it's a great sign of things to come for Xbox in 2025, but it does have me thinking, man, if we had games of this caliber like Indiana Jones at the beginning of this generation, rather than, I don't know, games like Redfall, would that have changed the narrative? Would it have changed the course of Xbox in any meaningful way? You see, at the beginning of this console generation, Xbox Game Studios published a lot of great games, but they weren't exclusive. Games like Psychonauts 2, Ghostwire Tokyo, Deathloop, those last two couldn't even make it on Xbox consoles until a year after release. If the lineup was reversed, if Indiana Jones, South of Midnight, Avowed, and all of those games came out at the beginning of this console generation, would we be having this conversation of, oh, maybe we should ship our games to PlayStation 5? Maybe we should make everything an Xbox? The difference between what they're doing now versus what they did at the beginning of this generation in terms of their first-party output is night and day, and I like it a lot better. A couple of years ago, they were like, yeah, open world, yeah, multiplayer, yeah, live service. And people were like, yeah, no, we don't want any of that. And now they flip. They're like, okay, no, now we're gonna focus on single-player, narrative-driven, more methodical gaming experiences, which is what seems to push a lot of PlayStation hardware. If Indiana Jones came out and it was exclusive back in 2021, would it have changed things? I don't know. Maybe it's useless to talk about because that's not what happened. On a side note, what are they doing when it comes to their exclusives? Are they going to do them anymore? Are they not? What is going on? This has been something we've been asking ourselves for this entire year, pretty much. Back in February, they were like, yeah, we are looking at things on a game-to-game basis. We have certain criteria for what games are going to be ported over and which ones aren't. And then we started hearing about Project Latitude. Oh, there are no red lines when it comes to games that can be ported over to PlayStation. Then Phil Spencer came out and was like, no, there are no games that are off limits. And now they've swung back. They're like, no, now we're deciding things on a game-by-game basis. What is it, man? Matt Booty just did an interview with Variety, and he said, we are very much making the exclusivity and windowing decisions on a game-by-game basis, and each of our studios is in a little bit of a different position. There's also the production timeline on a game, so the decision on spacing comes there first. We want to make sure there's a great experience for our Xbox players, and then the gap between when it becomes available on PlayStation is as much of a production decision as it is anything else. This is a game that was in production before we even acquired Bethesda even. The specific terminology of, oh, we're going by game basis, we don't really know. Seeing that, it seems kind of contradictory to what we've been hearing about the no red lines, nothing off limits. But everything that Matt says after that, well, it seems consistent with what we have been hearing. Oh, we're taking into consideration the windows we don't want to release when there's other first-party stuff releasing. We want there to be a gap between that and the PlayStation 5 version. Me personally, I think the gap between the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 release could be bigger. I mean, my God, we had to wait an entire year pretty much to see Ghostwire and Deathloop on Xbox consoles after released on PS5, but PlayStation owners, oh, they have to wait just a couple of months to play Indiana Jones. That doesn't seem right. It should be at least a year. I feel like a year is a great amount of time for the Xbox player base to play through your first-party stuff, milk the release for any of the Game Pass subscriptions that it's going to generate. After all that's done, they say, okay, now time for a PlayStation 5 version so we can make even more money. Speculating on what Xbox is going to do with their first-party stuff, wondering whether or not Indiana Jones could have affected any great change if it released at the beginning of this generation. It's fun to do, it's interesting, but finally, Xbox fans, we don't have to look to the past or the future. We can live in the moment and enjoy what we have now. And I have a strong feeling that what we're seeing from Xbox to close out 2024, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The good times are gonna keep rolling, and I can't wait to be here for it. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Help me on my journey to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.